On 11th of March, WHO had announced Covid-19 infections a pandemic.
A coronavirus.
Exactly 6 months later, on August 11th, Russia said it had the vaccine.
Насколько мне известно, сегодня утром впервые в мире зарегистрирована вакцина против новой коронавирусной инфекции.
Vladimir Putin, with that one statement, made Russia jump the gun, skipping a crucial trial process. Sputnik 5 will begin rolling out in 2 weeks. Is this an example of vaccine nationalism? What about the other contenders? Where is India in the vaccine race?
Hello and welcome. You're with the News Unlocked, the show that takes you behind the headlines to the real stories that matter. At a time when coronavirus continues to wreak havoc across the world, the numbers rise in many countries, that global race for a magic shot that can arrest the spread of the virus is heating up. The latest to join the race and indeed, in a way, take the lead is Russia, which has claimed that it is the first country to clear the coronavirus vaccine and say it is ready for use. The vaccine Sputnik 5 has been developed jointly by the Gamaleya Research Institute and the Russian Defense Ministry. But instead of excitement and jubilation, the news that Vladimir Putin is the man with the vaccine has been received with a lot of skepticism. Why is it that the Russian vaccine is being seen as a vaccine that may not quite be ready for a takeoff? That's going to be our focus, vaccine nationalism. Take a look at this special report.
Russia has delivered on its promise to develop the world's first vaccine for novel coronavirus. On August 11th, it announced that it approved a vaccine being developed by Moscow's Gamaleya Institute.
Знаю, что она работает достаточно эффективно, формирует иммунитет устойчивый и, повторяю, прошла все необходимые проверки.
Assuring about the efficacy of the vaccine, the Russian president said his own daughter has been given a shot.
Одна из моих дочерей сделала себе такую прививку. Думаю, что в этом смысле она поучаствовала в эксперименте. После первого укола, после первой прививки температура была у нее 38, на следующий день 37 с небольшим, и все. После второго укола, второй прививки тоже температура немного поднялась, ну и все, сошло потом на нет. Чувствует себя хорошо и титры высокие.
The vaccine will begin phase 3 clinical trials involving more than 2,000 people in Russia and a number of Middle Eastern countries and Latin American countries. According to reports, India too has shown interest in becoming part of the phase 3 trials.
We expect, tens of thousands of volunteers to be vaccinated within the next months. And then starting from October, it will be used for mass vaccination in Russia, again, on a voluntarily basis. So people outside of clinical trials will have access to the vaccine some in August and some already in massive scale in October.
However, soon after its announcement, the vaccine raised eyebrows over its super-fast speed of development. Sputnik 5 has been cleared without phase 3 human trials, and even the phase 1 and phase 2 trials have been rushed, all of it being completed within 2 months.
We have to be sure it's safe. तो उसमें देखना पड़ेगा डेटा क्या है कि सेफ्टी का डेटा स्ट्रॉन्ग इनफ, सैंपल साइज अच्छा है, लोगों में अच्छा उन्होंने एनालिसिस किया है, और देन इफेक्टिव कितनी है, कितनी एफिकेसी देती है, एफिकेसी कितने दिन लास्ट करती है.
Scientists across the globe have been sounding the alarm that the rush to start using the vaccine before phase 3 trials, which normally lasts for months and involves thousands of people, could backfire. Russia will reportedly begin producing the vaccine soon and already has plans for a massive countrywide vaccine drive. If the vaccine works, it is good news for the world. But if later dangerous side effects emerge, it wouldn't be all hunky-dory for Russia.
So how prepared is Russia for a vaccine? Amidst reports that Russia is even ready to take this vaccine across the world. Let's get a view from Moscow at this moment. Vinay Shukla, senior journalist, is joining me from Moscow. Vinay, what's the buzz in Russia? Are people skeptical there about this vaccine that Vladimir Putin claims Russia is ready with, or are they excited?
Good evening. The problem is that people are all of different views. But mostly, the general public is happy that there's something has come, so that many people are eager to visit foreign lands because they are used to that at this time of year. So they think that if viruses, vaccine available, then of course they will be able to travel abroad. But of course, there are a lot of, controversy among the different views among the experts also, because they say that it should have been allowed after the third trial, third clinical trial, third phase of that trial. But the government says that actually the third phase is underway, because this is several thousand people have been already. Is
there no criticism in Russia of the fact that here is a president fast-forwarding a process without doing, without adequate medical checks and balances? Is there no criticism, or are people just so excited at the thought of hearing that there is a vaccine coming from, that a vaccine could be on the anvil, that they don't want to look at the criticism? All medical scientists, including the World Health Organization, are very, very skeptical. What is there a sense of that being reflected at all in the Russian media?
You see, the Russian media has given the whole coverage of what the world says about that, including World Health Organization, WHO. And they have quoted today, the papers are full of the criticism by the US experts, German experts, all over the experts who are, skeptical about the efficacy of the vaccine. But the problem is that now when you, since I'm not a medical expert and all that, but I see all the things going around it, I think there are the two aspects which we have to keep in view also. One is political, the other, or you can say geopolitical, or the other is commercial. Because a lot of the international, transnational pharmas which work in Russia, they had approached the government to stop registration. So it means that they have some...
Is this being seen, Vinay, as political? Is this being seen as Vladimir Putin trying to establish once again his strong, tough political leadership at a time when Russia has been criticized, particularly for failing to, in a way, be able to control corona? Is this Vladimir Putin sending out a message, don't worry, I'm in charge?
You see, the problem is that Russia took if you go, I look back what happened in Russia. They closed they did it in a very professional way also. They combined two ways,
immunity.
They allowed that also to develop. And at the same time, in the places like Moscow and big cities where there's a lot of social distancing is very difficult, they had the very strong preventive measures as well as security measures also. But President Putin, today, if you look at his, some of his critics also have begin to accept that all the measures taken by the government were right. So that way you can say they're...
So his popularity very quickly has grown, Vinay? Are you telling me that Vladimir Putin's popularity has grown in these COVID times?
vaccine has nothing to do with its popularity. You see, popularity is something which is different. There is a lot of protest potential in Russia, and Putin's popularity doesn't belong to this thing. I just want to note one point, that this institute, the Malay Institute of Microbiology is connected with the ministry. And during I lived here and worked here during and immediately after the Cold War. So I know that this Soviet Union and now Russia has very strong defense system, medical defense also. Okay. So this institute is connected with the defense ministry. They have their own protocols. They have their own, because they have to present immediate response to any challenge.
So you're saying that this is connected in a way to the Russian defense establishment, and that is an important point to recognize in a way that there is a connection between the institute which is developing the vaccine and the Russian Defense Ministry. We leave it there. Vinay Shukla, you're giving us a view from Moscow, which we wanted to find out how newspapers and the media there was responding. Thank you very much, Vinay, for joining me there from Moscow. Okay, let's turn, therefore, to the race for the vaccine. You heard what the Russians are doing. What are the other countries at the moment doing? US, UK, China, India. Everyone is trying to come up with a vaccine and come up with it as soon as possible. The World Health Organization keeps reminding the world that the vaccine race should be driven by the need for benefiting communities across the world, not by vaccine nationalism. But Putin's announcement of Sputnik 5 has clearly meant that the race has taken another leap forward. Vaccine nationalism, it appears, is here to stay. Take a look at how every country is rushing for a podium finish in the vaccine race.
With the approach of India's Independence Day, speculation had been rife about what would Prime Minister Modi announce this 15th of August. One of the foremost contenders had been an Indian COVID vaccine, particularly when the Director General of ICMR on July 2nd had sent out a letter to different hospitals to expedite the vaccine testing process, to have it ready by 15th of August. But Putin seems to have stolen the thunder from Modi, and while the world remains skeptical of the Russian vaccine, the WHO had just days ago warned of what it termed vaccine nationalism.
Vaccine nationalism is not good. It will not help us. When we say it should be a global public good, it's not sharing for the sake of sharing. It's only because it has advantages. For the world to recover faster, it has to recover together.
The other big worry with a COVID vaccine, when it comes, is the distribution between the rich and the poor, particularly when money and national interests are involved. The US and EU have already started placing advanced orders for hundreds of millions of doses of successful vaccines. This means that poorer countries in the developing world may well be left out of it for now.
India is already the largest vaccine manufacturer with more than 60% capacity. So in all probability, whoever is the first one to discover the correct vaccine against coronavirus, India will be manufacturing it. But that does not mean that India is not in the race for its own COVID-19 vaccine, with 3 prospective candidates already under different phases of trials in the country.
According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, 3 Indian vaccines are in different phases of clinical testing at present. 2 of these vaccines, Bharat Biotech vaccine and DNA vaccine of Zydus, have completed phase 1 and will soon begin phase 2 clinical trials.
Bharat Biotech International हैदराबाद में हेडक्वार्टर्ड कंपनी है. ये ICMR के साथ कोलैबोरेशन में तैयार कर रहे हैं. इसके फेज 1 और फेज 2 ट्रायल चल रहे हैं. तीसरी वैक्सीन है जो जाइडस कैडिला, ये भी भारतीय कंपनी है, अहमदाबाद में हेडक्वार्टर्ड है, ये बना रहे हैं. इसकी भी फेज 1 और फेज 2 ट्रायल अभी चल रहे हैं.
The manufacturer for the Oxford vaccine, Serum Institute of India, has got the approval for phase 2 and 3 clinical trials, This Pune-based institute will conduct these trials at 17 sites in India within a week.
We've also got all the glass vials and the raw materials and the supply chain organized as well for these large volumes at short notice. So I think by the end of this year, we should be able to produce 300 to 400 million doses come end of December. That's the target, and I hope we can do that.
Last week, the Serum Institute of India also announced that it has entered into a new partnership with International Vaccine Alliance, Gavi, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to accelerate manufacturing and delivery of up to 100 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines for India, as well as other low and middle-income countries.
Even as 3 vaccine candidates in India are in different phases of trials, a crucial meeting was called today by the government to discuss the distribution and procurement of vaccines. Dr. V.K. Paul will lead a team that will decide who gets the vaccine first and when. But for now, the vaccines will be procured centrally, and states have been asked not to chart out different pathways for their own procurement.
Milan Sharma there reporting. Let's then go straight across to Dr. K. Srinath Reddy, President of the Public Health Foundation of India. Dr. Reddy, this announcement of a Russian vaccine, Sputnik 5, what's your first reaction? Do you think Vladimir Putin has jumped the gun by making this announcement even before the phase 3 trials are complete? Is it safe?
I am indeed very cautious because while I do know that Russia has a great deal of strength in basic sciences and in immunology and have had a very good track record of vaccine production, nevertheless, the time horizon with which they are actually proceeding for release of the vaccine is quite astounding. Because any vaccine requires 3 things to demonstrate beyond any reasonable doubt. First is efficacy, second is safety, and third is duration of protection. The efficacy is required because we produce vaccines by using a variant of the virus, some antigen. Now, it so happens that the body may actually develop immunity against that, but fail to recognize the actual virus when it comes in and it tries to enter the body. That's called the original antigenic sin, that there is no recognition of the virus itself. The second is the safety issue. Now, the vaccine may have some minor side effects which we can live with, but it can also have very major harmful effects, particularly what's called the antibody-dependent enhancement. The antibodies that are produced against the vaccine can actually unleash a huge immunological cascade that can be quite self-destructive in some cases. Therefore, we have to demonstrate safety beyond doubt because we are administering it to healthy people. We are not administering to sick people. Therefore, the responsibility is even greater. Third is the duration element. You expect a vaccine to last at least for a few years. And the antibodies to this particular virus have now been shown to disappear in about 3 months. But there is some hope that the cellular immunity component mediated by T cells may last longer, but we do not know. So at least the first 2 have to be conclusively demonstrated, and the third one has to be studied in terms of potential long duration. None of this is going to take a very short time. The logistics of recruiting people for trials is fairly fast if we expedite it. But the body takes its own time for the immunological response, and we cannot stampede science in that particular way. So I am quite surprised.
Which is why, are you surprised, Dr. Reddy, that this global race for the vaccine in the manner in which it's taking place, this hurry, country after country making announcements, it appears almost that there is vaccine nationalism, as the WHO calls it. Surely a vaccine is not about national boundaries, it's ultimately for global communities.
Yes, absolutely. Apart from the macho spirit of nationalism, which is unwarranted when you are confronted with a global threat, there is also the whole commercial angle of dealing with a very trying to make money out of a vaccine. We do not know what each company is going to do. Of course, it's possible that Russia may distribute it at lower cost to various countries, but that is also part of a separate nationalist political agenda. But it's very critical that we actually produce the vaccine which is absolutely safe for the world and not really, tinker with science without having clear evidence of efficacy and safety. We do hope that we will get that kind of a vaccine, and maybe Russia will be the one to provide it. But we are actually pursuing evidence through research in terms of science. But we are investing in hope, and we don't know whether that hope will pay off or not.
The worry, of course, is that rather than investing in science, we are at the moment promoting nationalism. The question therefore comes to quite simply this: should we avoid this national machoism in India, indeed across the world, and make it much more a global approach, that countries come together for the vaccine rather than saying, look, I'm going to be first?
I entirely agree. In fact, when there is a global threat, there should be a concerted global trust to provide an answer as fast as possible. The best brains in the world, the best laboratories in the world should have actually joined forces together to try and get the best possible vaccines. It's possible there could be different candidate vaccines, but sharing knowledge is absolutely important so that we don't take false steps. And false steps in terms of rushing through a vaccine and releasing it for public use can have some disastrous consequences. Now, we do hope that all the safety measures will be followed and the data will be in the public domain for others to evaluate. But certainly, this should have been a combined global endeavor.
But that's the problem. We are seeing it even in this country, Dr. Reddy. There were reports that ICMR was pushing was trying to fast track the process. Prime Minister Modi wants to make an announcement on Independence Day. Do you think that timelines can be set? Do you believe that even India, which is claiming it's in the race for a vaccine, should there be any race at all? That I'm going to reach the 100 meters by, this is not a 100-meter sprint, surely, the race for a vaccine?
Well, the Serum Institute has actually tried to partner with Oxford and trying to produce that vaccine in the hope that the Oxford vaccine will turn out to be a winner. And if it does, then all the investment that has gone into mass producing the vaccine would be helpful, both for India and for other parts of the world. But the other two Indian companies are producing vaccines through indigenous efforts, and nothing wrong with that. The important thing is to share knowledge so that we can actually have others look into how this can be done better, and we can tell others how to do things better. Because right now, this is a global pandemic in which all of science across the world must pool its best talent together. But the important thing is this has to be a globally available resource. It cannot be sort of barricaded by narrow nationalism or held to ransom by commercial interests.
So my final question in a way, Dr. Reddy, is do you get the feeling as we look at what Russia is attempting, what some other countries are attempting, China also, more authoritarian regimes there, that the vaccine is getting driven by this nationalism, or in certain instances like in the United States by pure commercial interests? Do you believe that at the end of the day it needs to be developed by public interest rather than either commercial or national interest? Do you agree both of them have weaknesses in approach?
Both. Bit of both. Because nationalism comes in essentially as a part of pride, and also it's a political instrument in terms of demonstrating influence across the world, and that's what some of the countries are doing. But the commercial interest also comes in, particularly when there is a huge amount of investment. Though it's a lot of public investment that's going in, even in the United States, but nevertheless, it's the commercial entity that stands to make most of the profit. So it is a combination of both.
Okay, Dr. Reddy giving us a sense that vaccines should not be driven by pure nationalism, nor just by pure commercial motives. They need, at the end of the day, perhaps to reflect the wider global concerns of coronavirus. I appreciate your joining us. Lots of memes are coming of Vladimir Putin. Who knows, maybe Russia, like they were in the past when it came to space research, could well be ahead of the pack. We'll wait and see. That's the image I'm going to leave you with. The Russian president with his magic vaccine. We'll see if it works. For now, thanks for watching. It's the News Unlocked. Bye for now.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.